Alright guys, it's Game Boy Luke here, and welcome to our draft breakdown for the Bristol City Blazekins for WBE Season 2. Now real quick, if you don't know what WBE is, it's a league that A-Drive set up, another Pokemon YouTuber on the platform. We did Season 1 already. I'll link Season 1 in the playlist, but it's basically a competitive battling thing. We all have, we have like 16, I think we have 16 creators in total, I think, in this. I might be wrong. I'll be a little bit less than that. We have 16 creators that all draft Pokemon, and then we all battle each other in order to see who is the winner of the championship. It's the worst explanation of a draft league ever, but that's basically what it is. We drafted, the draft stream was a while back, I think a few days ago, and I will link that in the description as well, so you can check that out. But this is what our draft is looking like, and a load of people were asking me, like, Luke, where's your draft breakdown? Where's your draft breakdown? So here I am, talk to you about what we drafted, why we drafted it, and whether or not we're going to take this league or not, I suppose. We can talk about a whole bunch of things. So, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I was super occupied when the draft is going on. I had a few ideas of what I wanted to do, but usually I'm very, very casual about the like drafts and stuff like that, and I'm usually going for Pokemon that I like to, you know, I like to play with. And see a lot of potential in. So usually that's why you see me picking up like Mew and like Mega Scizor and like Mega Venusaur, because they're all Pokemon that I enjoy playing with and have, you know, they're Pokemon I like. And that's usually my go-to. I did have a couple people help me draft because I'm not the most skilled player, obviously, and the name is in the title. It's the World Battle Entertainment. At the same time as us wanting to win, it's mainly for entertainment. It's not super competitive, and it's really chill. Of course, people are going to use damage calcs and stuff like that to find out if they can win or not. I was going to have to aid them in their victory. But the whole general thing is, like, if we get knocked out, if we lose a bunch of games, whatever, you know. It's just for fun. And again, that's pretty much why I picked a bunch of Pokemon that I enjoy using, rather than just going ahead and being super competitive about it and making sure that everything links up and stuff. Now, I didn't put these in any order in particular, but I will say that I had a bunch of Pokemon in my mind that I wanted round one. Pokemon that I really like using. For example, I really wanted Kyurem Black. I really wanted like a Mega Lati. All of which I think I got like a middle, kind of in the middle draft, I think. So I got sniped instantly. There are the other couple Pokemon that I wanted to. For example, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But first off, the first draft. First Pokemon draft, I literally got sniped straight away, which is really unfortunate. But instead, I went ahead and picked up Zygarde. Now, Zygarde is a Pokemon that I think is really cool designed. And if you look at its stats, it's nothing to, you know, scoff at. You know, its defense stat is pretty damn good. It gets access to Dragon Dance. It gets access to Coil. You know, there are certain sets you can run. You can even run Camouflage, Extreme Speed. So you get the stab from Extreme Speed. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. It gets Aura Break. So, here's what this does. When this Pokemon is active, the Dark Aura and Fairy Aura power modifier is 0.75. So, honestly, that's not any use to us. His ability is a little bit lackluster, and we can't use Power Construct. Obviously, that's banned as heck. I'm not super into, like, building and stuff like that, or like what sets I would necessarily use. But just looking at his base stats and his HP, like, this thing can shoot up. We can make a physically defensive wall out of a Zygarde if I wanted to with Coil. Because I know doesn't Coil increase your defense as well? Attack, defense, and accuracy by 1 stage. So, I'm pretty sure, are we allowed to use Core Enforcer? I think we are. This nullifies the foe's ability if the target attacks first. Now, this Pokemon is only, it's still a base 95 speed, but if you imagine that we make a defensive Zygarde, right? We could lower, maybe put no IVs in speed, so we purposely attack second and just nullify any ability that a Pokemon may have. I think that's a really good trait to have with a Pokemon. I'm trying to think of an example where this would be really, really useful. Maybe Levitate User, for example. If I really want to hit this Pokemon with a Ground-type move, and it's not Zygarde that has the Ground-type move, I can Core Enforcer it, and then maybe come in with someone else and do something. Because I know, like, obviously this thing is going to get, like, 1,000 arrows, so I'm going to better hit things in the air anyways. But if I Core Enforcer it and go into someone else, maybe they can deal with it. Scrappy, I don't have a Ghost type, actually, I don't think so. That's not a good example, but you know what I mean. I can dull down someone's ability. Okay, huge power. If someone has huge power, I can Mega Madicam. Imagine if he attacks first, I manage to live the hit somehow, and I go for Core Enforcer, his huge power is gone. It's so good. It's super, super good. So that's an opportunity there. As you can see, we have what's his special attack like? His special attack is not bad, but his physical attack is way better. Obviously, having the 1,000 attacks, I think, isn't it 1,000 waves? It prevents them from switching. So it's like a mean look, but does damage. So I can literally prevent someone if I know Zygarde can kill a Pokemon. Let's say, for example, it's like a Pokemon that has no effectiveness against a Zygarde. Let me think, like a Rock type, for example. I can stay in and just 1,000 waves it. Now you're stuck. I'm gonna continue to beat you down until you're dead. Basically, they can't switch out. So that's another thing to take into consideration for sure. I think Zygarde really makes up for its lack of ability with the really cool attacks that it gets. So that's neat. It gets priority. It has Earthquake. It gets Haze. We get Haze. We can nullify people's stats. We can lock them in and knock their stats down. Outrage for a good ass smash down on the physical dragon type move. We have Pain Split as well. I didn't even realize it got this many moves. I didn't even realize it got this many moves. So these are typically the useful moves. What else do we have here? We have Land's Wrath. There's no additional effect. It's just a physical. I mean, there's no point using Land's Wrath when you have 1,000 arrows and 1,000 waves, I suppose. So a Stomping Tantrum. And obviously 1,000 waves is 1,000 waves too. But all in all, Zygarde looks like a really strong competitor, especially if we want to run it. Let's say we want to run it defensive. We run Impish Nature. His base defense goes up to the defense stat goes to 375, which is a force to be reckoned with, in my opinion. Zygarde obviously having weaknesses to Fairy, Dragon, Ice. Is that it? Fairy, Dragon, Ice, Water doesn't. Yeah, that's it. He has 3 weaknesses. That's really good. That's really good. Strong Pokemon. Good boy. Hopefully, I really hope that I can use Zygarde to the best of his ability. I know he's I feel like he's a difficult Pokemon to use. So there are going to be some sets we're going to have to work on. But I definitely think if we can get used to get like a rhythm going and understand the Pokemon more, the first week is obviously going to be the toughest. I think I'm facing up against Deathly, but I think that Zygarde can really be useful. Next we have Nihilego. Very frail physically on the physical side, but very bulky on the special. Of course, Beast Boost, one of the best abilities in the game by like easily, because we can choose whichever stat. Like we can basically doctor its stats so that we make sure that we get, like, if I wanted to like make sure he got the speed boost, I can drop this down to like here and run it modest maybe and boost the speed up so that he gets the beast boost when it with speed, or we can get the beast boost special attack. Or if we're running it like defensively, I could be a bulky attacker like this, and we can, I guess if we want to do that, we want to be like careful, or calm rather. If we go calm like this, then we can like hit people for like damage, but then get the special defense boost. So it just keeps, every kill we get just makes us more and more bulkier. If there are only special attackers left, for example, that would be a great strategy. I think typically Nihilego, if it's not being running on the bulky side, it can run Life Orb. It can run Leftovers or Black Sludge rather if it's trying to be bulky. But this thing gets a bunch of really good moves, like Clear Smog, for example, can knock if someone is set up against us. You know, this thing's got 103 speed, which outspeeds a lot of Pokemon. We can just throw Clear Smog and like eliminate their stat changes completely. For special moves, it's getting Dazzling Gleam. It's a poison type that gets Dazzling Gleam for some reason. Regardless, I'm not complaining. It gets Light Scream, gets Knock Off, Pain Split. It gets Psychic. Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave, both really strong moves. Sludge Wave has the more damage, but the less likelihood to poison. It gets Substitute. We can sub and then start setting up with the Beast Boost if we can get the damage off. It gets Toxic Spike, so we do have a Spike setter. Does it get Stealth Rock? It gets Stealth Rocks too. So again, we can run this especially defensive and run like the hazards, and then just sit there and wind people up, or we can go super offensive. So I like a Pokemon like that because people, I can bring it in and people can be like, wait, what is this set? What is this thing gonna do to me? That's why I like the mind games. It's like faking it out to people that you can bring this thing in as if it's a defensive mon, and they're like, okay, this thing, if he wouldn't bring it in like this if he was trying to be defensive about it and just go in for this, like for the attack and stuff. It gets Thunderbolt too. There are some usually useless moves down here too. Charge Beam, Sub-Charge Beam, maybe. I don't freaking know. Nothing else I see. It gets Mirror Coat too. You want to run like a special defensive Mirror Coat set maybe. It gets Trick Room too, which wouldn't be too useful because obviously we are quite fast. But it gets a whole bunch of moves. Its move pool is very versatile. Although I feel like there's no real... I mean, it's Power Gem. So the special moves it gets, like Dazzling Gleam, Power Gem, Psychic, the Sludge Wave moves, Thunderbolt. It gets Grass Knot as well. So there's definitely some versatility there. Looking at his other moves, obviously Hidden Power. He gets Thunder if we want to go even further beyond. But that's basically it. Again, once you get the ball rolling with Nihilego and you get the Beast Boost and stuff and you're stacking your special attack, like even a specially defensive wall is going to have some trouble taking it down with its stab moves. So Nihilego, very good Pokemon, very fair on the defensive side, but very good specially defensive, so we have to look out for that. It's still a very good Pokemon. Next, voice breaks. Still got to fix my sinuses, by the way. We have Greninja, and we can't use Protean. We can only use Torrent, but that's still okay because look at Greninja's stats. It's very, very fast. It's got some great special attack, and even if I don't want to run it specially, I can run it physically. Its physical attack is still pretty good, and it gets some really good physical moves as well, like Acrobatics and Gunk Shot and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to make the most of the Protean, like the stab that this Pokemon would get if it was able to use Protean. But it does get physical Dark and Water type moves, so it's not that bad. You know, this Pokemon's really, really good. Throwing out the Scalds, throwing out the Ice Beams. This thing can be run like Life Orb set. It gets priority on Water Shuriken if you want to use that. It gets Toxic Spikes. We have another Toxic Spike setter. Spike setter too. It gets priority in Shadow Sneak. Which we'll probably use Water Shuriken because of the stab and it has a chance to like hit multiple times. But yeah, its accuracy is 100, so there's literally no reason not to. It gets extra sensory. This thing has a really good move pool, and it definitely, I love having Pokemon with speed. That's really, really important because there's like a bunch of frail Pokemon that don't have a lot of speed and end up getting wiped out instantly. But the fact that this thing has base 122 speed at Timid is getting to 377, which is really good. Not the fastest thing, like, you know, Weavile and Aerodactyl, I think still outspeed it. I don't think anyone drafted Aerodactyl, but like the fast Pokemon, the really fast Pokemon still outspeed this thing. But for the majority, Greninja can outspeed a bunch of Pokemon. I feel like he might even potentially outspeed some Choice Scarfers too. So he's looking really good. We have Haze on this too. Power Punch, you want him physical, and then like I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things. Even Rock Slide. So the whole bunch of things that Greninja gets. Very versatile Pokemon. I look at the other moves it gets down here. It's Growl. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Icy Wind might be useful for reducing speed. I don't know. It gets Work Up too. But that's about it with it when it comes to Greninja. Next we have Necrozma. Now Necrozma is a Pokemon I really, really like. He's really, really cool. And I think I was facing off against Necrozma in a draft league recently. I think it was maybe WB Season 1. And I just thought it was so difficult to get past. Not only does it have this ridiculous special attack, it has good defense, good special defense, good HP, but it has Prism Armor, which basically, was it a third? Pokemon receives 3/4 damage from super effective attacks. So an entire, so it receives 3/4 damage. So an entire quarter of super effective damage is removed. So in like any Bug, Dark, or Ghost type moves, you know, they're super effective, but they're not doing as much as super effective moves would normally do, which is really, really useful. It's very bulky. But so along that, and I think one of the things is like, I think hazards are really, really important again. And this thing does get Stealth Rock. So again, being a really bulky Pokemon with Stealth Rock, that's really useful. It gets Calm Mind, so we can set up Calm Minds if we need to. And again, once again, versatility has Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Earth Power, Flash Cannon. Is it stronger? It's strong. It's way stronger on the special side, so it's got 127 base special attack, which is ridiculous, by the way. We have Knockoff. We have Light Screen. Does it get Reflect too? Element of P. It gets Reflect too, so we can even run screens with this thing. It gets Rock Polish to increase its speed. Again, another really versatile Pokemon. Substitute Sword Stance, it's Toxic, Trick Room even. And I do have some slow Pokemon, right, as you can see we're leading up to, so maybe we could run a Trick Room set, because Zygarde's not the slowest thing in the book either, but I mean, I can knock it down to like 0 IV, put it down to 195 speed, and like a speed-reducing nature, so definitely opportunity right there. We have Moonlight, so we have Recovery. Morning Sun or Moonlight, either one will work. He gets Outrage. Psycho Cut and Psyshock, Rest, Jesus, Thunder Wave. This thing gets some crazy moves. Substitute to, like, it's again just another really versatile Pokemon. And when you're playing in draft format, that's what you need, because you can't be running the same Pokemon over and over and over again. And I think that's one thing I have trouble with using Mew. As much as I wanted to draft Mew again, I want to try new Pokemon as well. I know people wanted me to, the stream draft chat were just like going crazy. They were like, no, Beanie, rip Beanie. But next we have Steelix over here. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I really wanted to draft Mega Aggron, but it wasn't until I found out Christian had drafted Aggron, regular Aggron, and you can't draft a Mega if the regular Pokemon is done. And I really wish that I got him way earlier, because now we have Steelix. Now, don't get me wrong, Steelix isn't a bad Pokemon, but it's definitely not the same as Mega Aggron with Filter, you know? I don't really see an opportunity, really. I mean, I have 3 Rock-type Pokemon right here, so maybe we could run some Sandstorm shenanigans. I have Ground here, Rock here, and then Steel here. Maybe we could run some Sandstorm shenanigans with Sandforce. What does Sandforce do? If I goes Ground, Rock, Steel attacks, will do a 1.3 times in Sandstorm. It has an immunity to it. So, that's pretty good, if I'm honest with you. Its stats, base defense, is absolutely ridiculous. It's a heavy-ass Pokemon. Has some really good physical attack too. And you know, if we're running like Impish Nature or even Adamant, if we were trying to be ballsy, Heavy Slam is going to do some ridiculous damage. Ridiculous damage. Obviously, this Pokemon again is going to get Stealth Rocks, because, you know, it's Onix. It was Onix, and he can earn Stealth Rock. He gets Earth, he gets Explosion. So, if we want to be nuts, we can use Explosion. He gets some pretty good moves in terms of coverage. You know, Earthquake, he's getting Dragon Tail too, so we can set up rocks and Dragon Tail people out. He gets Aqua Tail, he gets Crunch, he gets Body Slam. Toxic is very good as well, you know, for these really like story Pokemon. If they only have physical Pokemon left, like Steelix is going to do well. The only problem with Steelix is there's a ridiculous amount of like weaknesses in ground, fire, water, fighting. Ground, fire, water, fighting. Is that it? Actually, that's not that many. I think that's it. Ground, water, fire, fighting. I think that's it. Actually, only 4 weaknesses, not bad. They're very core weaknesses though, because like fire Pokemon are very common. Earthquake is a very common move to use too, so we'd have to be careful. But this thing, I definitely think that gets Psych Up as well. What the heck? That might actually be a pretty crazy strat. If there's a Pokemon we know is going to set up physically, and we just Psych Up in front of its face, that would be ridiculous. That would be absolutely ridiculous. I didn't really want to use Steelix. It was like I had to pick a Mega last second, and this happened to be it. I'm hoping we can maybe figure out some really cool strats with this thing. I mean, again, we have potential Trick Room right here, because we can go on a Scrafty. Scrafty's got low speed too. Necrozma has low speed. There is an opportunity for Trick Room to be a thing. We might be able to set that up. Who knows? We'll definitely have to pay attention to that. When it comes to like what team we're facing. If we're facing off against a really fast team and we have a load of slow mons, Trick Room may be the savior. Next, we have Scrafty, bringing my boy Callum. I like Scrafty again, very versatile, because it has Moxie, so we can run Super Aggro and get the attack boost, or we can run Defensive, run Intimidate, or Shed Skin. It has base 90 attack, but it's very bulky in its defense and special defense. Very good Pokemon. The only big issue about it is a quad weakness to Fairy, solo weakness to Fighting, and I think, another weakness to Flying as well, of course. But again, in its moves, I've seen Callum run countless Scrafty. We have Bulk Up, so we can make him even bulkier. I know there's Dragon Dance Scrafty. If you're trying to like, he has Fake Out. If you're trying to be really, really like chill, you know, you can run like Toxic, or like Laid Back defensive sets. He gets Power Up Punch 2, Knockoff. Stab Knockoff is really, really good. Does Greninja get Knockoff? Okay, Greninja doesn't get Knockoff, but Stab Knockoff in Scrafty is very, very useful. Fake Out's very useful too. High Jump Kick. If we're running Dragon Dance High Jump Kick, we're killing things. I know he gets Drain Punch as well, I'm pretty sure, so you can get HP back from like hitting things over and over again, especially if Moxie. You literally set up your Dragon Dance, you get faster than everything on the team, or like at least a little bit faster, and you start killing things and start getting Moxie boosts. Like there's opportunity for really like late game sweeping with Scrafty. I also really wanted to Intimidate user, because if someone's running physical Pokemon, then we're gonna need something to counteract that. Physical Pokemon like I don't know, like Gyarados, like some super hard hitters like that need to be countered with a lot of switching back and forth with like Intimidate and stuff like that. And I know Greninja gets Pivot in U-turn. I don't actually know what the rest of these guys get. I'm pretty sure Nihilego gets U-turn. No, it doesn't. I'm lying. You don't get U-turn either. I know for sure you don't get U-turn. Does Steelix get U-turn? No. So, well, I mean, at least Greninja has U-turn. But I mean, we can switch in and out and get the pivots going for the Intimidate. Scrafty has really respectable stats too. I think the problem is his HP is a little bit low. So we're usually going to have to invest in HP. But the fact he's so bulky makes up for that, I think. So that's not too big of a deal. Again, Scrafty, very versatile Pokemon, very happy with this pick. I guess, again, it gets Ice Punch, it gets Roar too, so if we have the Rock set up and someone's trying to, you know, come in on us with, like, crazy stats, we just roar them out. Good opportunity for some craziness with Scrafty. Next, we have some of the lower tier picks. As you can see, we have Vanillux. Bit of a suggested pick, and I didn't realize, actually, this thing's stats are really good. And Ice is a really a good aggressive type. Its weaknesses are, what, Rock, Steel, Fighting, Fire. Unfortunately, yeah, it's not a very good defensive typing. So it's like, I mean, Choice Scarf, Vanillux, what other ability does it get? It's Snowballing, so it can summon the hail instantly. I don't really think that would be very useful for us. But it has weak armor, right? So if our defense, if we get hit, defense is lowered and we can increase our speed. So actually we wouldn't even need to run Choice Scarf because this thing's speed would just get increased instantly if we can take the hit. And it's not like it's got weak defenses or anything. Again, Earth, we have Explosion on this dude. We have Freeze Dry, so if we ever want to like hit on against a water ground type, like if someone's running Quagsire, if anyone's running any of the water types, like Freeze Dry would be really good to use. Because we, obviously, Drastic format, I can see their team beforehand, so if I know they're going to bring a water type, why not bring, you know, Freeze Dry? We have Ice Beam, we have Priority and Ice Shard. We can set up screens, we have Magical Coat, Signal Beam. Honestly, I don't think this Pokemon is that versatile. It's usually going to be, if we know that they're going to be bringing Pokemon weak to Ice, we're going to want to bring Vanillux because it has a great opportunity for like maybe a late game sweep with how strong of its special attack is. 110 is nothing to laugh at. Looking at his other moves, so it's only really like Ice Beam. If we wanted to go crazy, we can bring in the Hail and go for Blizzard instead. Let's see, Blizzard is right here. We have Frost Breath too, which is, I think, a really underrated move. It's always resulting in a critical hit, right? So its power is technically, would Frost Breath technically be like base 90 power? If there is a Pokemon that is setting up and we can't break it, Frost Breath is perfect to get through some special defense if they're setting up Carmines and stuff like that, because it always crits and it'll go through it. So what else do we have? We have Mirror Coat too, potential for, you know, shenanigans here. I'm looking at these moves. Like I definitely don't think I'll be able to pull them off, but there's opportunity to, since we're going to be playing for like 12 weeks. Next, we have Whimsicott. A good prankster Pokemon is never a bad thing to have on your team. Its stats, I mean, it's very quick. It's very quick. It's not got the greatest stats, but I mean, we can lead Spore. Wait, does it get Fake Out? No, we can lead Spore. It doesn't have Store. Luke, it doesn't have Spore. Do we have Sleep Powder? It doesn't get Sleep Powder. I guess it's Stun Spore. Why do I think this thing got Spore? I thought this thing got Spore, regardless. Let's see what moves it actually gets. Leech Seed. So, okay, so, Prankster Leech Seed. Prankster Stun Spore is never a bad thing. Prankster Tailwind. If you want to get a speed boost, that's probably the main reason we got this, actually. The Prankster Tailwind is really good. Stun Spore's good too. Switcheroo is also a good thing. Like if we want to, you know, if someone's coming in with a bulky Pokemon like leftovers, and we want to, you know, Switcheroo over a Choice Scarf or something, that's probably a better Choice Specs even. That's probably like one of the best things you can do to screw over like a really tanky ball. Gets Moonblast. It gets Memento. So I mean, that can, if we're going to die, we can definitely throw in the Memento and reduce their stats. That might be really clutch. Gets Knockoff too, which is always useful as a utility mon. That's something that's it can be very useful. Energy Ball as well. Energy Ball and Dazzling Gleam, good stab moves. And if we want to be crazy, it's Cotton Guard too, but I can't really see us using that. Does it get Reflect? It doesn't get Reflect, but it does get Light Screen, so Prankster Light Screen setting might be useful too. That's about it when it comes to Whimsy. Next, we have our boy Tanked Up, the Seismitoad, making a return. We already know how Tanked Up rolls. We have another Stealth Rocks setter in him. It gives us a water immunity when we have Water Absorb, Scald, you know, Earth Power. It gets Ice Punch, it gets Knockoff, it gets Poison Jab, you know, Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave. We've used Seismitoad before. We know exactly what this thing does. Last but not least, I wanted to pick up Swallow because I think Swallow is very, very, very underrated. It has base 85 attack, but when you have Guts and you have Facade, you're punching holes in things. Not only that, but Choice Specs Boom Burst is also a set that can be run on this thing, while its special attack isn't the greatest. When you max its special attack and you have a Choice Specs on it, Boom Burst, again, is punching through things, especially when we have Scrappy and we can't be, you know, we can hit through ghost types and stuff like that. There's no switching out. There's no switching in a ghost type against this thing. If you have Scrappy, you're going down. And the thing is, as well, when you send it in, people aren't necessarily going to know what kind of set this thing is until they realize we haven't got the Flame Orb or whatever, right? So when, on turn 1, when this thing has come in fresh, it's a read of like, is he going to protect to get the Flame Orb? Or is he going to just hit me with a Boom Burst? Am I going to have to lose a Pokemon? Because that's really it. If they are confident that I'm running the Orb set, they might stay in and be like, he's going to protect and get the burn. And then just Boom Burst and punch one. I know we had a really tricky time trying to get around a Swallow at one point during the league. I think it was our match against Kyle, if I remember correctly. I don't know if that's right, though. But I know we had some problems getting around Boom Burst Swallow. So, hey, this thing is powerful. It's a little bit... I feel like it's like a two-trick pony because it has 2 sets. But, again, it's mind games because they don't know what set it is until they see the orb pop. So there is opportunity to throw some curveballs with this thing. But yeah, I think honestly, I got a lot of help in my draft. I usually am very busy and I'm not very attentive to these kind of things. And I'm also not that crazy skilled when it comes to competitive battling. I never really do the greatest, of course. I'd like to see us come through. I think our draft is pretty cool. It's definitely not how I wanted it to shape out to. But at the same time, I don't really have loads of regrets. I think the only main regret I have is not being able to get a Mega Aggron instead of Mega Steelix. But we'll make it work. We'll see what we can do. Bristol City Blazekins never go down without trying. So we're gonna do our absolute best to do our best. We're gonna do our absolute best to at least, you know, top cut. I mean, I'm gonna do what I can. We came pretty close last season. Actually, you know, my goal actually usually with every season is to come even with myself. If we can go even or positive, I'm happy. I'd love the top cut if we can do it, but I don't know. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. Let me know what you think of the draft down below. If you wanna give me any suggestions for potential like what am I looking for? Like potential strategy options or like team building options and stuff like that, I am more than welcome to hear your thoughts. I'm sure a load of you are way better than me at competitive battling. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this draft and maybe our potential weaknesses that I should look out for and our potential strengths. It's very, very nice to hear from you. I'll be definitely reading the comments of this video. Thank you so much for watching, though. If you're rooting for the Bristol City Blazekins, let me know in the comment section as well and hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.